Moving on the show, just before we bring up our guest, I would like us to take a look at this snippet of our Against All Odds, produced by Dooshima. Enjoy.
Disability, you will agree with me, is as old as man itself. Will bring hope to someone who is wondering, can I still move on after the fall? Yes, you can.
David Obinna Anyaele is a disability activist, a social worker, public relations and disability development consultant, and a member of the Nigerian Institute for Public Relations. While visiting Freetown, Sierra Leone in 1999, he was attacked, captured, and set on fire by the Revolutionary United Front (RUF) rebels of Sierra Leone after his two limbs were forcefully chopped off because of his identity as a Nigerian.
Healing, stabilization was characterized with care and love. So that gave me the kind of energy that I required to stabilize myself.
David has successfully coordinated many campaigns and advocacies in favor of persons with disabilities in Nigeria.
Are you still there, lying in a dark corner and wondering how your life will move on in this new state you have found yourself? I'm sure after listening to his story, you will jump up and make yourself happy. Happiness is a choice, a deliberate choice that only you can make and realize for yourself. Don't stay there in self-pity. Come out and become that which you dream to become.
I'm sure you're pretty excited about our next guest, as I am. She is one of us, and she is the producer of the show, well, a bit of the show that you just watched, Against All Odds, and her name is Dooshima Pius Ikerave. You're welcome to the show.
Thank you so much for having me.
It's good to have you. I've not seen you in forever.
Yeah, I've been out there just trying to settle out some things.
All right, and congratulations are in order for emerging winner of Nigeria Merit Awards.
Thank you.
Congratulations.
Thank you so much.
So how does it feel?
Whoa, it feels, it just feels like, when I say a dream come true,
Okay.
it's not like we're actually producing Against All Odds, looking forward to an award. But yeah, it feels fulfilling, the fact that you're actually just doing something selflessly, and then, people out there were actually liking it, and then giving it an award. It's a wow.
Nice, congratulations
Thank
again.
you.
So let's talk about the journey that led you to this place, producing it Against All Odds on NTA. What's the program all about, and what's the message that you want to carry out there?
Okay. Well, Against All Odds is a production that started 5 years ago.
Okay.
It started with, it's a program for persons with disabilities, showcasing their resilience, their doggedness, their efforts to conquer against the odds that surrounds them and all that. We just thought, and persons with disabilities actually did not have a voice. They didn't have a platform where they could showcase themselves and tell the world what they're capable of. And so when the program came forth, I remember my EDP asking me then if it was a program we could sustain. Wale Kuka, and I told him, yes, it's a program we can sustain, because we have a lot of persons with disabilities who are actually making waves in their space, but nobody knows them and no one sees them. Yeah. And then we also have persons with disabilities who are drowning in a dark room because they just feel theirs is finished. So Against All Odds actually revealed the potentials in persons with disabilities, therefore giving hope and inspiration to those persons with disabilities who felt, because I am blind or I had an accident and my 2 legs are gone and so my life has ended. So watching the lives of persons with disabilities who have been able to make it through it have actually given other persons with disabilities hope, and not just persons with disabilities, because I know a lot of people who watch Against All Odds and they'll call persons without disabilities who will call and say, wow, if that man or that woman can actually make it, then I do not have any reason not to. So it has given a lot of people hope to just strive on and move on.
Yeah, because that was actually going to be my next question. You know, you're doing a program that showcases people with disability. What's the impact that it's having on people who are watching, who don't have disabilities, but they're watching the, you know, the target community and all the people that you expect to learn one thing or the other from the show.
Yes.
You know.
Against All Odds has not just been for persons with disabilities, because the feedback is amazing. It is for the society as a whole, you know, people who are like, I can't do it again, I can't move on again, I've got to the point that, you know, I'm stuck and all that. But when they watch stories, inspiring stories of people who have been able to pull through against all the odds, they're like, oh no, I don't have any reason, I must move on. And so a lot of people, I remember a woman who called us from Port Harcourt, and you know, she said she was actually going to commit suicide because she wrote, that was her 4th time of writing JAM, and you know, everything, her parents were saying this, her parents were saying that, and she just watched a young lady who finished school. She has one hand, she's a tailor, who finished school, she didn't have a job, but she told her mom to just get her a sewing machine so she can, you know, keep her life going. And she was like, if that girl with one hand can actually, you know,
learn to sew,
learn to sew with her one hand, even when they were trying to discourage her, you can't do it, and she's like, I can't do it. She doesn't have any reason, and so she will go back to write her JAM. Right now, as we speak, she's in school. Nice. She's almost rounding up. So Against All Odds hasn't just touched persons with disabilities. Yes, it has touched persons with disabilities, a lot of them, a lot of them. But persons without disabilities have also been part of the show.
Okay. I know the community of persons with ability, you know, it's a sensitive one. You know, so how do you, you know, is it herald or hail their giant strides that they've made in the society without making them necessarily sound, you know, helpless? You know, how do you achieve that?
It was a gradual thing. I remember my first episode was with a blind man, a lecturer at Benue State University, Makurdi. And so when I had the interview with him, you know, I was feeling like I don't want to make this man feel like, you know, but he told me something. He said, don't pity me. I don't need you to pity me. I know who I am and I know how far I have gone. So I don't need you to pity me. Just feel free and ask your questions. And that was the last time I felt bad about anything around them. So when I talk to them, I speak to them like I'm speaking to myself, because it is just one disability they have, and then they are active and very, very passionate about everything they do. Persons with disabilities are people that do not give up. They are focused and they're determined. And so, you know, you just get into their shoes, you just make them feel good. You know, you really need to you really need to pull them out of that shell and make them understand that you're not less than anybody. You know, you need to make them understand that I know who you are. I know your abilities, I know your potentials, and I know that you can really, you know, strive, you can get to where you're going to. So with that, you just see them feel very relaxed, because all they need you to do is give them the...
Include them.
Yes, include them. Inclusion.
Yes,
inclusion.
them.
You know, disability is an impairment plus a barrier. So once you take away that barrier, they do not even recognize they have an impairment, because they feel like if you jump, they can even jump better than you.
Yeah.
So once you just take away that barrier, don't discriminate, don't look at them with pity, don't feel they can't do it. Maybe someone is coming up here and you're like, hey, yeah, let me pick you up. No, just allow them to flow. You know,
they probably were doing it before they met you.
Exactly,
So,
exactly,
yeah.
exactly.
Okay, so let's talk about production of the show. What kind of challenges, what were the challenges that you faced, and how were you able to move past those challenges to emerge, a winner of Nigeria Merit Awards?
The challenges of Against All Odds were huge, numerous. First, it's a very special program, and then you need your guests to be, you can't just tell any kind of story, because you have a focus here to inspire and bring hope to someone's frontage, and so you need to pull out great stories that can really send that message across and then give the next person a hope to move on. So sourcing the guests is not an easy task. And then most of these people, we have persons with disabilities who are doing great, but maybe they're like 5% of persons with disabilities who are still there struggling. Against All Odds desired to reach out to those ones who are still struggling, who have potentials, who have stories to tell. But then, money, finances, movement, and all that, because most of these people are right there in the nook and crannies. So when we need to do things like that, we really had to go out of our way, stretch ourselves to make sure that these stories are being told. And because there was a lot of feedback, reactions, we had to keep moving. Sometimes we'll be like, we don't even have money to produce, but we're like, we need to still produce. I remember we had to go to Ayetoro once and to interview a blind farmer. We got there and we practically had to foot his bills around for us to get everything we needed to get. He's just a blind farmer that was lying fallow with a huge hectare of land, but he didn't have the means to. But thank God, when we did that story, World Bank watched and they gave him 2 million naira to cultivate tomatoes. So, with those kind of things, when we hear that there's someone somewhere again, we'll just try to get there. And so, at the end of the day, Against All Odds actually won this award for itself. The God bless you that comes from people. The God bless you. We have a 54-year-old man who is right now in Nigerian Society for the Blind. He'll be rounding up next month.
Okay.
Yes, this man watched, like after 6 months of not watching television, he watched that day, and that was his breakthrough. He watched Against All Odds, and they were able to help him. Right now he's in school, and he can do a lot of things that he never believed he can do as a blind man. So those things just kept inspiring us, and then the challenges were like,
the stories are endless too.
Yes.
All right, so let's just quickly, before we go, because we have run out of time, let's talk about winning this award. I know there were so many people that were nominees for this particular category, but you emerged winner. What does this winning mean for you? And of course, they say when you are the reward for hard work is more work.
Yes, and in fact you've said it all. This award for me means more work, more dedication, more commitment, more selfless service, more getting to the nook and the crannies to bring out the stories of persons with disabilities. And at the end of it all, that which we want to achieve is complete inclusion, that persons with disabilities will be included in the society, leaving nothing untouched.
All right, thank you so much, Dooshima, for coming on the show and sharing this wonderful story. And we wish you all the best.
Thank you. Thanks so much.
All right,
Thank
and
you.
your weekend will continue.